hour. Joining me again this week are Spencer, of course, Joshua. And we're going to be covering quite a bit in this past week of gaming news, so we hope you'll stick around. But first, we're going to begin everything with our icebreaker like we normally do. Spencer, what is it that you've been playing?
I've been playing Don't Interrupt My Tweeting. It's a new game that we're starting right now.
Okay.
But to humor you, I have been playing, of course, Super Mario Maker, always and forever. There's millions of levels. You'll never beat all the levels. That's great. It's the first Mario game.
I bet you I will.
For hours. Splatoon, Splatfest was last Saturday, and I touched it one time since then. I got robbed. The planes got robbed, I think because there were too many 9/11 jokes. I think it's manipulated because for some reason, the planes were way more popular, 60-something%. And then the wins was barely eked out, like 54% to 46% on the wins went in the favor of cars. Don't believe it, but it's passable. But then it gave a 4-time multiplier to the wins to give cars the edge over the planes, and
dirty sports
there was
politics.
A lot of like jet fuel and steel beam jokes on
Bush did
9/11. So I could see why you wouldn't want to promote terrorism, but it's not Nintendo's place to try to contain terrorism on movies.
Not every plane in the air contains a terrorist.
Yes, it does.
Oh.
Especially if you watch the Planes movie, the Disney one.
Oh, yeah.
They're all terrorists. After Splatfest, I finished up Chibi Robo.
Finally?
He's not last because I'm still playing it. I didn't beat it 100%. I'm trying to go through and at least unlock all the costumes. I don't need all the badges.
Yeah.
But I beat it. There was actually an extra world hidden behind this amiibo. There's a 7th world, which is the only, pretty difficult world. You have to have the amiibo to get it. And then not only that, it doesn't just unlock. You have to have the amiibo to play a game where you will unlock little figurines, and sometimes those figurines are actually levels. So that's how it works. And you have to level up your amiibo enough to be able to get to those levels. So I've been leveling up my amiibo. I'm so close to the final level, which is Diamond. It's almost max level. I've replayed a lot of levels to try to get costumes and to collect at least the little homeless kids, homeless kids and the coins.
I'm certain they appreciate that too.
Yeah, it's a nice game. It's actually probably one of the better platformers. It's probably second to New Super Mario Bros. 2 as far as platformers from 3DS, which is saying a lot.
Yeah.
I put it, Shovel Knight is 2, 3. Then Yoshi's Woolly World came out yesterday, and it's adorable and it's all fuzzy.
I haven't got to play it yet. I'm pretty jealous.
It's super cute.
The normal amiibo customizations like these, great, fantastic. But using this guy to give you like a second player in the level is god awful.
Oh.
Because all it does is mimic exactly your button inputs. So all the time it'll get caught up to you, and you're trying to just lick an enemy, turn them into an egg, and then your clone that's right behind you licks you and turns you into an egg.
Oh.
It's like, great, okay, this is dumb. And then and it says, press minus to turn them into a floating egg. But that floating egg follows you until you accidentally pop it. It'll just keep surrounding you until you pop it. So not the most well thought out thing in the world, but it's there. You're not buying this for the functionality. Look at it. Just look at it.
My God.
Well, I guess it's good. Not everyone
look at his little boots.
Right. It's the
look at them.
It's the no friends amiibo. It's fine. It's really frustrating. Like, I was playing with my girlfriend and I was playing with amiibo, and my girlfriend's better than amiibo by far.
Well, that's good. The human probably should be, unless it's Super Smash Brothers, and then it's not fair.
Then it's not fair.
No.
But most of the time, platformers that allow 2 people to be in the same level, but they're interacting with each other, bouncing on their head. Usually, that's terrible. Usually, that's just disaster.
Yeah.
So this game, not so much, but like Mario, it was a disaster. But that's what I've been playing. I don't have anything for PC to play right now, so that's what I've been playing. I've been full.
Last weekend, I finished up on playing a little more Battlefront. Yeah. Yeah. Like I wanted to get every bit of time that I could out of the beta and really use that time to form what opinions that I could. And I actually came to find out that they're not going to have any sort of added communication system for the game. There's not going to be any kind of voice chat.
Who needs voice chat?
With
Platoon got reamed for no voice chat. Completely destroyed for not having voice chat, even though you don't need it.
Yeah, it's just 4-on-4.
But Battlefront's a big 40-person battle.
It's a war simulator. I would think you'd be able to communicate with people.
Well, the way they put it, it was PlayStation users and Xbox users are probably going to have to party up, and it's not an issue for PC people. There are so many ways to communicate on PC. Like even the old stuff, TeamSpeak, and just like Skype. Poor man's communication. Yeah.
I remember back playing Battlefront 1 and 2. We lived in Georgia, and we would call someone that lived here in Alabama to do that.
Yeah. But also, given that Origin has its own built-in voice chat system, I don't feel like it's going to be as big an issue, with the exception of console users.
Console users, party up. You can't talk to strangers. This is a game where they take the social out of gaming.
Wow. Can't talk to strangers.
There's a lot of
It's
people,
dangerous. What if they come at you with candy?
Whereas Nintendo gives you friends if you don't have them. You really need to talk to people on some of these shooters, or unless you want to coordinate and only play when your friends play, which is annoying. I've played no squad battles on Splatoon because people's lives are busy and they just can't all be on and game at the same time.
You need more friends.
League of Legends, but that's a hardcore game. Battlefront is the casual of casual games. I've never played a more casual shooter in my life.
It was super easy to pick up.
So that's not going to be something where people schedule time to play.
Which isn't a bad thing. There's nothing wrong with a good casual shooter.
That your coordination on playtimes is usually more of a hardcore gaming thing.
Yeah. And I agree with that. But also this past week, I've furthered my progress a little more in Albino Lullaby. There's a new horror game that came out a little while back. It's fantastic.
Albino Lullaby.
You tell us about it?
I ask this every week. Okay, but tell us about the game. It sounds like a horror game.
It most certainly is a horror game.
Is it about what? Albino Africans that get limbs cut off for potions that happens?
No.
What?
Okay. In Africa, they if there are albino people in the village, they will kidnap them and they'll cut off limbs to use them in potions.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my Is this like the origin story for that guy that sells you items in Resident Evil 4?
Pretty much.
What are you buying? Got no hands. Using potions. What are you selling?
That's the best dialogue I think I've ever heard. Got no hands. Used them in potions.
It's not about that, right?
God, no.
Okay, good. Because that's terrible.
Oh, well.
And no one should be laughing at that.
I'm not laughing.
Spencer's like, who's laughing? Okay. Anyway.
You gonna ever get that tweet out?
No, it's most certainly.
No one's letting me do anything.
Now he's not playing the tweet right.
It's autocorrected gaming to Ganondorf.
That is the most correct. Okay, gaming news. Yes, Albino Lullaby, I think, is probably the most creative horror game I've played in a long time, and it is genuinely creepy as opposed to being just jump scares and the anticipation thereof. Because there's actually very, very little of that. If you want to play a game with jump scares, I've also tried this past week Spooky's Haunted House of Jump Scares, and it's basically where you're running through like just 1,000 levels and things gradually get really, really dark really, really fast.
What?
Yeah.
Sounds awesome.
It's a cheap game on Steam that everybody needs to pick up because it is adorable until it's really scary. So, like
Yoshi's Woolly World is pretty scary.
It seems like it, especially if the amiibo is trying to cock up your entire play experience.
Well, at the very beginning, this wizard comes and turns everyone's soul into a ball of yarn.
He's really casual about it. He's like, hey, no, not meaning to interrupt anything.
It's genocide.
He's like, what's up?
Yeah.
Boom.
It's a
bye.
Yoshi Holocaust is what it is.
That's what the name of the game should be.
Yeah.
Yoshi Holocaust? Yes. I think a lot of people might get the wrong idea about the game content.
Well, it's pretty close to what it is.
That's true.
I think in the game Yoshi Holocaust, you would play as the wizard, and perhaps he would have a more definitive mustache.
Someone's making a mobile game of that right now.
Probably. Good luck to you. I want to play that. But also looking forward to playing The Park, which is going to be coming out here in just a couple of weeks, and that's going to be my Halloween game, I think.
You're going to play The Park? What is that going to be about?
The Park is from Funcom. That's who made it.
Oh.
And it's the same people who made the Secret World MMO, which did not do so great.
Yeah.
But was still kind of inventive all on its own. But it is a game set in that world, so it's sort of supernaturally dark and scary, but you play as just a single mother who is at this carnival with her kid who wanders off and gets lost, and as night falls on the park, everything gets really, really scary really, really fast.
So you're a kid in Silent Hill.
Basically.
That's awesome.
Basically.
Because no one else can make Silent Hill games. So
apparently not. Funcom may as well. I mean, they can throw their hat in the ring.
Yeah, sure. Josh, what's your icebreaker?
What's been playing?
Well, I've been playing Yoshi's Holocaust. I played a little bit of it.
We're not going to start calling it
that. Mainly Mario Maker was the other thing I was playing this week. And then, of course, I finished up Battlefront when I could. Mm-hmm. They actually did release an update right at the end that made the Empire a little less OP.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, and they've actually talked a little more on that. We'll get into that shortly. But
okay. Please don't talk about it because we gave them so much love, and it's about to be taken away. Like we went on an Olympic, give you love, EA, and you just crapped on it. We're taking it back.
No. Everything's okay.
No, it's not. Let's get to that.
He makes everything cynical. He comes on and then everything's terrible.
It's not. It's not cynical. It's truth.
Okay. Well, what I was going to bring up,
$50 for a mystery bag. It's like Loot Crate asking them for $120 for some mystery
bag.
Fallout.
All right. Can our first topic then be Battlefront?
Of course. Let's go ahead and move directly into that.
Do this.
I love how you just pyramid your fingers ever so lightly. Just yes, let's do this. The most evil of gestures.
I do that all the time.
Well, it is a testament to your evil.
I'll take that.
Fair enough.
So. Good news is always first. So, no, it's not.
Well,
it's bad news first.
Yeah.
I'll go first.
Please do.
So, EA, in their EA-ness, was talking about how...
It's an actual jet.
They were talking about how there's no microtransactions and you know, the base game. They were really... They turned a lot of people off saying, hey, you get to play this map 2 weeks early if you pre-order. And so, instantly, like in your launch week... Where you've
divided your player base.
You divided your player base in the first month already. And so a lot of people turn off by that. And I'm turned off by that because I don't want to pre-order the game if all you're giving me is just the benefit of the pre-order for this level that it will have a minimal amount of people on it.
Mm-hmm. Well, when I got that email that says, hey, if you pre-order now, you can get this Battle of Jakku or whatever, I was like, I'm definitely not doing that. Like, that's all that email told me is, no, you don't want to pre-order this because that's really stupid.
And how do you get someone to pre-order a game for the Battle of Jakku that's a thing that happens in the movie? I have no emotional ties to this.
Yeah.
And I don't know if EA heard of the prequels, but the prequels killed all of my Star Wars blind loyalty. So now I'm even iffy going into episode 7. I'm like, you've got your work cut out for you. Make up for that.
Well, this is the brand new property. Like this, I think this is the one time where a lot of people have relished in the fact that intellectual property has been taken away from its creator.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you know the prequel, it's no.
If it was Lucas, I probably wouldn't go to the movie.
It's no mystery that everybody's like the prequels are garbage, you know, in comparison to the original movies.
Especially if you rewatch them. Rewatch them in order from episode 1 through 7.
Yeah.
And feel the hate flow through you.
Oh. Mm. Search your emotions. You know it to be true.
But now they're offering this pack of DLC, the season pass, if you will. They haven't given any kind of structure to it, whereas Bethesda did, and it was $30. But this package is $50. Now the last time I overpaid for a package of blind loyalty, blind trust, blind box of DLC was Batman.
Yeah.
Batman Arkham Knight. What did it give me? It gave me some skins. And some really terrible gameplay as Batgirl, where Batgirl deserves so much better. And some really crappy Nightwing stuff. So, fantastic.
Which Batgirl was this? Was this like Sandra Cain Batgirl? Or
this was Barbara Gordon.
Shoot.
Oh, well. Barbara Gordon, before she was paralyzed.
Obviously.
She would be wheeling around and figuring out.
I'm going to get you, Arkham Knight.
Come here, Joker. But this is not a good track record for anybody. Assassin's Creed last year with their season passes don't have a good track record.
No.
Like Bethesda's got its work cut out for it too. Like, I don't know if I want to buy the season pass right away.
But they always make great DLC.
That's the problem. Bethesda has my trust. EA does not.
Yeah.
EA, with their last maps for Battlefield 4, because Hardline was like a test for them. It's almost like they didn't take it seriously. They're still supporting Battlefield 4 better than Hardline.
Well, it's so hard to mitigate the risk anyway, and with so many people getting burned like that, there's almost no reason to spend like $50 on a season pass because you're almost guaranteed not to get your money's worth. Whereas if you're like Xbox Gold or something like that, the free games they give away every month, it's cheap, so you're just about guaranteed to get your money's worth of playtime in that month. I mean,
I feel like I'm going to be handed the ability to play as a sand trooper on Hoth, and that will be one of the bonuses for a month. That's the way EA does stuff. Battlefield 4 was sold on the premise of Levolutions. Levolutions, yet their DLC had plenty of maps that featured no Levolutions, just basic maps. And I'm like, why did I pay for premium, which was $60 on Battlefield 4? What's happening? So now EA's trying to do that again. They might get the casuals. They might get the hardcore Star Wars nerds. They may get them locked into that $50.
Yeah.
But anyone that's played an EA shooter will not buy this unless they have Mitt Romney money, which if you got all the money in the world, pre-order everything. Don't even go pick it up. Just pay for it and leave it. Donate it.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Definitely.
But gamers usually don't have all the money in the world to spend on all the games they want to play, so they have to pick and choose. For you to ask for someone to choose your DLC blind box over choosing a second game is pretty ballsy.
Yeah,
I don't like it.
Well, I mean, gamers should be a little more critical of these things anyway, I think. That would do a world of good in the gaming industry if gamers were more critical of stuff like this. First of all, because there wouldn't be so much crap just thrown up and people ask for money.
Critical of things you love, critical of things you love, not critical of things you don't play or you have nothing to do with. If you are like a Sony fanboy...
Oh no, if you're going to be a critic of anything, you need to be a critic all the way around.
Yeah, critic of things that you know about, that you played, that you liked. Don't be a critic of things you don't like anyway. Because if you don't like Sonic games and you've never liked Sonic games, don't throw Sonic under the bus. It's not Sonic's fault. It's not your demographic.
And you see that a lot, but I think that is because people did love the original Sonic games.
Well, I was just bringing up an example.
Yeah.
But I mean, people that attack Nintendo and it's like, when was the last time you owned a Nintendo console? Or people that attack Xbox, it's like, have you ever owned an Xbox console? Mm-hmm. Just attack things that you know something about. Have valid reasons for your argument. Don't just attack to be a troll. What were you going to say?
That's it.
Thank you for your addition, that meaningful addition to this. But yeah.
Now defend them. Go ahead. Defend EA.
Well, no. I was not defending EA. I was defending the developers over at DICE, who said, yes, there are some severe balancing issues, and they said that they are actively working. They're putting a lot of resources into balancing out a lot of the issues, specifically on Walker Assault and things like that.
How did they not know of those balancing issues already?
I think they did. However, this was a beta test. This was not the final game.
How hard is it to lower the health of something?
Not very. Also, how hard would it be to just not give the Empire TIE fighters?
Yeah.
That would be super easy.
That would be a lot.
Yeah, because if they didn't have the additional air support, Rebel fighters wouldn't have had to worry about literally everything. People on the ground, the walkers themselves, stuff coming in out of the air, orbital strikes, just all the turret placements. Just it's like, I'm a rebel, I'm going to fly this way.
Oh, and Rebels get the wondrous, and this is the most abundant vehicle in that map, is the Snowspeeder.
Yes.
That's what I want. I want this thing that barely glides above the land to fight these TIE fighters. Yeah. That have enough health that they can just ram into you and blow you up.
Well, I mean, if you're a hardcore shooter fan, then you should love that because it's realistic.
Oh.
Rebels had it hard, man. It's
super
realistic.
I never saw TIE fighters on Hoth.
They were there, though.
But who knows?
They were snow TIE fighters like everything else the Empire had, and they were solid white. You couldn't see them.
I would love a Wampa.
Oh my god, in Battlefront 2, the hunt missions, where you could be a Wampa versus like the Rebels, that was amazing.
I hope that's in this.
I do too, because my friend and I would be Wampas and then just listen to the Wu-Tang Clan while we were running around killing Rebels. And I don't know what it was about those levels, but when you were a Wampa and you just sideswiped something, it just went bouncing for like miles.
Which, if you want a game that you know is finished and polished, you can still buy Battlefront 2 on Steam.
You definitely can buy Battlefront 2 on Steam.
Is there still a community for online play?
A modded community, I'm sure, but I think the official servers got shut down. Yes, that day.
Yeah.
What do we follow with the EA defense?
I wasn't really defending EA. I was just making the point that DICE developers are actively putting resources into balancing walkers.
I wasn't attacking DICE. I was attacking EA and their business practices.
And you should. Because they're super shady and they need to calm down.
Yeah. Them and Ubisoft and Capcom go get on the boat and let it sink.
Yeah. Konami. Anyway, I'm not Konami's biggest fan right now, but we won't get into that.
But Konami already did that. They actually built a vault thanks to inspiration from Bethesda, and they are locking themselves in and never making a AAA game again.
Yeah.
They did come forward and say, that's not necessarily true, but ever since they registered Big Boss as a trademark for a pachinko machine, I was just like, no, I gotta go. I left my couch on. I gotta get out of here. Dealing with Konami is now above my pay grade, I'm afraid.
When these AAA developers are getting as shady as some KickStarter developers, then it's bad. It's a bad day.
Or when they become KickStarter developers.
Then it's worse. Shenmue 3. No one liked the Shenmue game. That's why they didn't make a 3. And now all of a sudden, all these weird, it's this millennial craze to have nostalgia take over your buying habits
and to be ironic.
And so they backed it, and it's like this never would have made this much money if they had just released it.
No, not even a little bit.
They owe Sony big time for that.
Yeah. And it's disappointing that nostalgia does take over in such a big way, because I think that clouds the minds of otherwise apt gamers to find games that are really, really great and maybe spend money on that.
I sit here as I have amiibos of an 80s Mario
and Yoshi. But you have that juxtaposition of where they're spread out with the new Splatoon, which is one of Nintendo's first new properties in quite a while. And then the Chibi Robo. So
Chibi Robo, which is actually this is the best Chibi Robo game they've ever made. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I really think that this is the best Chibi Robo game they've ever made. Yeah. I think the next one, I hope this sells well enough so where they can make a 3D platformer. Because Chibi Robo, the world of it, lends itself so much to exploration. Exploration's always done better in 3D platformer. I hope that's the way it goes.
So, but they did say that they weren't going to make another one, right?
If it didn't sell well enough, yes.
Did they actually say it?
They actually said this game needs to sell well for us to make another. Kind of like the last Fire Emblem.
Yeah.
Which Fire Emblem's in my top 5 hype games. I have a top 5 hype game.
You have a top 5 hype games?
Do you have a top 5 hype game?
No, I don't.
I don't normally buy into a lot of hype, so no, sadly. I'm sorry.
I don't buy into hype, but there are games from developers that are still making the same property that I am hyped about. Fallout 4.
Well, to be fair, there are games that I guess I am excited about, but they're not. They're only spiritual successors to games. Like I'm hyped, I guess I would say, about Ukulele.
Yeah.
From the Banjo-Kazooie crew.
Yeah.
Like I suppose
that Kickstarter miracle.
Yeah, I suppose that would be a bit of nostalgia on my part, but it's nostalgia for games that are good, not what EA did with Rare when they sent out Banjo-Kazooie 3. I was like, oh, wow, you're just physically raping Rare, aren't you?
Well, it's different. If nostalgia is driving you, and then if you know you love a game, I still Banjo-Kazooie for the 64. I don't play it because it's nostalgic.
Yeah.
I play it because it's good. It's solid. It's
an excellent platformer. It's charming. It's funny. It's wonderful. Yeah.
A game with controls from 1998 still holds up better than a lot of games today in 2015.
And considering that, I think platforming is something that everybody should basically have down. Like jumping.
Yeah.
Shouldn't be a mystery anymore. Yeah. Platforming shouldn't be super hard because of the mechanics of jumping.
Yep.
Like it is sometimes indie games.
Which Kickstarter successes also come with Kickstarter failures.
That is true, and I do believe we have a pretty egregious failure up on the roster here that we need to talk about.
There's someone that makes me extremely sad and mad because I backed them.
You're smad?
And a lot of people, I'm smad. There's a lot of people that have backed them. I was one of them. They got, what was it, $70,000, I believe is what their final total was, to make a game called Medora. So the developers are like off their Twitter, so I'm not going to give their Twitter handle. Look up Medora Game on Twitter. You'll find the handle that they usually only communicate through. Almost like it's a shield. Just saying. Yeah. Like, you're giving $70,000 for a game. Don't pay yourself. The first thing you should go to Kickstarter for is to buy the resources you need to make the game without paying yourself first.
So that's the whole point of Kickstarter.
That's the whole point.
Kickstart a project.
Kickstart, not Kick Finish. Come on, man.
Yeah.
There's a reason why Kick Finish isn't a website. Or at least if it is, it's not successful. Medora asked for $70,000 to make this game that didn't necessarily look great.
Yeah.
I backed it because I really like people to try to get their, my dream is to make a game that releases on consoles. We already have one game out, but to release a game that's on consoles of a big scale is really awesome.
To me, it looked like a much watered-down version of a game called It'll Do, which is a mimic kind of homage to Legend of Zelda.
But It'll Do is clever, it's funny.
That's why I said very watered down. It's not a watered-down version of Zelda. That's not fair at all to say about it. It's a watered-down version of a game that likes Zelda. Just
a side note plug, It'll Do, look it up on Steam, any console. It's actually in some ways better than some of the recent Zelda games. And in some ways not, but in some ways definitely is. Of course, you lose the characters, and they kind of have mimic characters. It's really great.
And I get, people, obviously there's a market for it because they got funded, and I think those people are stupid and everything because I didn't think it looked that great. Because it looked absolutely boring. All I saw was the character standing there. He threw a boomerang once. He was watching a person fish. And it looked like it didn't need $70,000.
How's the view from under the bus, Spencer?
Oh my god! I am a gaming philanthropist who's poor, so the most I can do is back the minimum to get the game kind of thing. Kickstarter, some Kickstarter games I really believe in. I'm like, oh no, I need to give more. Like Raise the Dead on Kickstarter, I gave a lot more than I've given on any other game because Raise the Dead is the most phenomenal project I may have seen on Kickstarter until recently. And then it's like a tie or right there at second. I like to help people get their dreams made. Yeah. Like, not taking credit for it or anything, but every little bit helps. So some people ask for $5, $10, $15 to get a copy of the game. Yeah. I'm like, $15, and if enough people think like me, you'll get your dream accomplished. Great. Nate Smold made a game called Cosmatoria. He did it through Kickstarter. All he asked for was a few grand because that would cover a dev kit cost.
He was the sole developer too.
Working
developer, a full-time job and having a child.
And his playtester was his child.
I love games that come out like that. Like, this is just my project. This is what I have put my work on, and I love it when that work shines through.
On an indie game, that's the way it should be.
A good example of that, and this game got such mixed reviews, but I love it, was Papers, Please. Did you guys ever play that?
Yeah, I haven't.
That guy was just Lucas Pope. That was just the one guy developing Papers, Please, and it was really, really good. It was simple, but like as you progressed in the days and you had to check for more things and things got harder, it got really, really tense for me, and it also made it really, really hard to be a good person considering I've got my family to worry about.
Well, talking about Kickstarter success, let's talk about why that was not a great success for Medora after they got $70,000.
So first off, I believe, and I don't know, and no one will ever know the truth. I believe some of these Kickstarters that run out of money or fail, it's because, or people that run into troubles and can't finish what they want, it's because they pay themselves too much. They pay themselves based on the industry they want to be a part of, but they're not. That's why they're on Kickstarter. They're not a part of the industry. They're indie developers.
They need to check their numbers because game developers in the industry don't make a tremendous amount of money.
Now, you look at yourself as a normal full-time worker for a minimum wage. That's the way you should look at it. You get less than $20 grand a year. That's your income. And that's the way, if you are going to pay yourself, that's the way you should look at it. Downsize your life. The amount of resources you're paying for don't equal up.
Just enough to survive if you're just asking for people, essentially, to
if you're asking for handouts,
I give money to help. And I feel better when people are helped to accomplish their game-making dreams. It's mostly what I was fixated on Kickstarter. Because I know one day I may need that help.
Yeah.
And I would like to, pay it forward and maybe have a little bit, just a little bit come back.
And have karma come back around and catch you on the butt,
Just a little bit. And there's a lot of people that weren't doing that. There's a lot of people that wanted this game made, that wanted to play this game, that really believed in this game. And now they don't get the game, and they don't get their money back. That's the way Kickstarter works. So once it's funded, you do not get your money back.
If they don't, you have not gone into complete description of what they actually continue to try to do.
Now they are not only out of money, but they need $120,000 to finish the project.
So did they start a second Kickstarter for that, or did they just?
They're doing some kind of secondary, not on Kickstarter kind of thing to raise money.
While they had that $70,000, they ran out obviously very quickly, and they went around trying to get publishers to fund them. No publisher would take them, and
obviously.
Yeah.
Is it because it looks like a really, really bland and diluted It'll Do, which is already a kind of offshoot of Zelda?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. And he even says that he's going to make sure this game is made no matter what, whether he gets this extra funding or not. And that's telling me, so you're just saying you want money, and you don't actually need it.
And the money that you spent on possibly yourself didn't need to be spent like that he did.
Don't bite the hand that feeds you.
There's more and more Kickstarter developers that are just kind of ruining the name for indies on Kickstarter.
Oh, not just indies, but the Mega Man developer.
Yeah.
Let's go back to my number 9, how the entire basis of the game got changed and transformed into something more bland and regular. I don't want another Mega Man game. I wanted Mighty Number 9. That was a different game than what he is producing right now. What he's producing right now is Mega Man 27.
Yeah.
It's not Mighty Number 9. It's not, oh, you can take the power-ups of all of the enemies and get to the level. Something much more inventive and much more unique. Now it's, I can play all the great Mega Man games, the best ones, 3, 4, and 5, on my 3DS.
Like Yooka-Laylee, I think they should have taken that opportunity to capture the soul of what they were originally doing and put a brand new coat of paint on it, like just completely
that's what they were doing.
Because now that they are out from under like big publishers, they have the freedom to do whatever they want with any kind of good ideas that they have. Iga, who was originally the inventive mind behind the Castlevania games, has Bloodstained coming out.
That's different. That's a way great looking game.
Oh my gosh.
He's obviously much more talented.
I am super amped about that game.
Yeah, I am too.
Which I guess is another one that would make my hypothetical hype list.
Yeah.
My hype list.
The Mighty Number 9 thing, just to close it off, what they did, they thought of a great idea. A Mega Man who not only absorbed the bosses, but every little enemy.
Yeah.
Like everyone, like to get to the level. And then all of a sudden, no, we can't really do that. So you just gave us an idea. I really am not a fan of Kickstarters that have an idea or a premise and they need funding. I like people that have put in the work to figure out what they can do and what they can't do. And that's what Race of Dead was. Race of Dead was polished. They actually took their game before Kickstarter, went to E3, showed it off, seeing how people looked at it, and Sony came by and they were like, And then the Kickstarter was successful, and Sony's like, awesome.
Yeah.
And then Race of Dead is on every video playthrough of every Sony end cap of any retail store, way before it comes out, and it's an indie game.
Crazy. That was a really great way to handle the property, though.
So this is Medora is another Kickstarter failure. Obviously, My Number 9 will get made in a much more diluted version.
Yeah.
Those are a couple of I'm going to.
Which is a shame because I really like the idea for sort of the emergent gameplay that it would have been, because if you can absorb all the little powers, it would have made for a lot of different ways to make it through the level. It would have given the player a chance to get inventive for how they would solve specific problems that the player, and get through specific obstacles.
And that's exactly what was too hard for them. They didn't know how to design a level for that.
There's a reason.
Which is they could do the code. They had that. That's fine, but they just didn't know how to design the level around that.
There's a reason why I like the younger people at Nintendo.
It's disappointing. I could probably design the level around. Like, put me on Mario Maker. We'll figure it out.
New Super Mario Bros. 2 on 3DS and New Super Mario Bros. Wii U came out in a 2-month span. New Super Mario Bros. 2 was made by the younger Nintendo crew for Mario. U was made by the older crew. The U version, besides their little extras, is the core game itself, besides their challenges. But the levels they had in that game were not super interesting, and not challenging, and not super inventive. They had some cool power-ups, but not super inventive. New Super Mario Bros. 2 was the most inventive and unique game for Mario had played since Super Mario World. They did so well with that. These older developers, it's great that this is part of the crew that did Mega Man 3, 4, and 5, but I can go back and play Mega Man 3, 4, and 5 for $5 each. Yeah. I don't need to spend $30 on Kickstarter to get a copy of a game. That's one of those with better graphics.
Yeah.
But talking about Kickstarter failures, good news on Kickstarter. Did you see?
Did I see?
Did you see?
I don't know.
It's October, so there's a.
There's a lot to see. What did I see?
Who is your favorite horror icon for slasher movies?
I know where you're going with this, so I'm going to say Jason, but I think secretly it's Pinhead. I don't.
You're into some weird stuff.
Some Clive Barker shit for real.
Yeah. Josh, who's your favorite slasher?
I like Freddy Krueger a lot.
Actually, mine's okay. You know what? Let's just move.
Michael Myers.
Do we all need to lie? Jason.
We all need to lie. It's Jason. He said slasher-wise, I think of Freddy as more of a psychological guy, and so is Pinhead.
He slashes people.
Well,
he's got
Shut up, Josh.
a handful of
kills. Now we're getting into semantics. This is.
I love Robert Englund. I've met him a couple of times. I love him, so I love Freddy Krueger, and I'm biased, super biased. But no, Jason has a new game, possibly. KickStarter, the good side of KickStarter. There's these developers that were developing Slasher Volume 1 Summer Camp. And it was an homage to Jason movies.
Oh, yeah.
Well, they displayed a trailer on IGN, apparently got back to Sean Cunningham, the creator of Jason Friday the 13th, and the director of the best Friday the 13th movies. And he went to the developers and he said, hey, I see you're making this game. And I'm sure they responded nervously.
Like, please, don't sue us. Not the butt. Oh, God.
Sean Cunningham gifted them the license of Friday the 13th. Gifted it. Not
really?
only that, but he put them in contact and brought to his house the developers and the composer of the Friday the 13th series and the man who created Jason's look and all of the deaths in all the movies, Tom Savini, the master of horror, and also the man who plays Jason more than anyone else, Kane Hodder, who everyone thinks is the true, legitimate Jason.
Yeah.
And he brought them all to them, and it's like, Kane Hodder's your motion capture. This man, he's the composer, he's composing your music, and Tom Savini will create the look of Jason and create the death scenes. And they were like, what just happened? Santa's real.
This is Halloween, but is this like Christmas?
Yes. It's incredible. Like,
it really is. That's awesome.
And the concept of the game for its base goal is amazing. They have stretch goals for single-player modes, but the base game is a 7 versus 1 asymmetrical game where it's a survival horror game, but you have 7 camp counselors who must work together to either defeat Jason or escape Jason. So you'll have a broken down car. You've got one guy that knows how to fix cars, and him and the rest of the crew, or as many as possible, can go around finding the parts all around this sprawled camp.
I love it. It's going to be depth, but it's going to be depth, but at Camp Crystal Lake. I love that.
It is, and then all of a sudden, people try to fix boats, where people try to kill Jason. There's different archetypes, where there's the edgy guy, where there's the jock, who's a little bit stronger, maybe with some more endurance, to be able to hold off Jason a little bit till he dies. Then you've got the girl next door, the savior woman, the woman that escapes, kind of like your female Tommy Jarvis, who could actually...
I already know how to win if I'm on the camp counselor team. Because if nobody has sex, Jason never shows up in those movies.
Unfortunately, the match begins after the crap's at the fan, and someone's already done the deed.
Dang. Camp counselors, dang.
Someone's done that, or they've smoked a little weed, or they've done something to make Jason...
They've done something in the 80s that is bad, and now Jason is here to punish them in the name of parents.
Someone burned the Ronald Reagan book, and now they're dead. But this game looks incredible. This is now probably my number 2 top 5.
Release date?
One thing you didn't mention about the mechanics is, you all have to work together, but say you're working on an escape route, like getting a car or boat together, it only holds a few people. And there are 7 counselors. So everyone eventually has to...
Oh my God, Jason! And then they turn around and look back and you're like, bye!
It becomes Survivor, where you're voting people off by pushing them into Jason so you can get to the boat, because it can't hold everyone. The boat holds 2 people. So
what is it, a canoe?
Yeah, it's like a canoe. It's like
I thought you meant like a boat, like a man's boat, like a boat with a motor.
No, this is a boy's boat. This is a boat that you're knocked out of.
It's basically a boogie board and you're paddling away.
Yeah.
With somebody on your back.
So unless you're all trying to kill Jason, which is going to be less likely than escaping, you're going to eventually have to kill each other.
Or imagine you do everything possible to gather all the parts to this car to fix, to escape, that can hold more people.
And then it kills your mechanic.
Kills the nerd
guy. Oh, hey.
Then everyone's like, well, this is a screwdriver. What's this do? No one can fix it. So now it's like, well, let's figure out a different plan. We either need to just fight or flight. And I don't know if we have enough resources left to fight.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Jason's like, yeah,
The developers in the Kickstarter video, which you can go on Kickstarter, search Friday the 13th, and it'll pop up.
I like what that does tactically. That adds such a depth to gameplay because it gives Jason targets, and it gives them people who they must strategically protect.
Yeah, and it's an actual person that plays Jason, so it's not like this AI that knows.
Oh yeah, because it's taking the same notes from Depth and Evolve. Like in Evolve, you have 1 monster, four hunters. In Depth, there are 2 sharks, 4 divers. You know, it's a lot of it adds strategy. I think not to just make it an even 1-on-1 because that inevitably turns into a shooter.
Yeah.
Because everybody has to be balanced, all the powers have to even out, or whatever it is that you're doing.
And I'm not sure there's any guns around.
This doesn't have to be balanced, which is why I love asymmetrical.
That's the whole thing they said. It's like we can make Jason OP, and it's great.
Because 7 people versus
because 2 people might still get away.
Yeah. 7 people versus an OP Jason.
Just paddling the canoe like, oh god, he's just killing them.
If you have the right plan, then you can defeat Jason.
Yeah. Release date?
They don't know. It'll be next year.
Okay.
But
October of next year.
I would actually
maybe on Friday the 13th.
Oh, wait. What?
Let's see when that is.
There's a few throughout the year.
Well, I want to see the first one. I'm going to say that one.
Okay.
We're going to hope for that one.
Hope for that one.
But I mean, that would have the flavor and would be super creative if they released. Because obviously it would be on a Friday, like any good weekend release. On Friday the 13th, I think that would work out.
I think it would work out fine. I'm just super excited that the creators and the people that I don't know how to use a calendar. I like how the people that created this are the ones that are endorsing it so much. They're giving their time and energy to it.
Well, yeah, I love how they didn't bring it to the creators of Jason.
The creators
they went to them. They were like, so we see what you're up to. And we like it.
Kane Hodder is still in movies. He's probably the greatest slasher actor. Him and Robert Englund are the best gifts to horror as far as playing multiple characters. Not just like Doug Bradley as Pinhead, but like multiple characters. Those 2, and then maybe Brad Dourif third. Like those 3 are great. And then you've got Kane Hodder. That's going to be the motion capture for Jason. Who better than if you remember any of the Jason movies? The Jason movie where he got like sunk underwater by Tommy Jarvis, and then he came back to life, and he was just covered in chains and wet, destroyed body parts, and he was just standing there breathing heavy. If you remember the Jason that looked like a wrestler, that's Kane Hodder. That's the Jason we get in this game. And then you've got the composer, which on the Kickstarter video, he does this thing where he just starts playing a Friday the 13th tune, and he explains every single reason why he does every single key. And it's like, this man's a genius for what he does.
Obviously, he's a composer for a reason.
Yeah. And then you've got Tom Savini, who runs his own school. By the way, the Tom Savini Makeup and Effects School, which you can actually, I think you can do it online now.
Ooh.
Parts of it, but you can learn a lot of practical effects there. He created basically everything you saw from the Living Dead series for George Romero and Friday the 13th. This man's a genius.
Yeah.
This man is someone who saw death. He was in Vietnam, and he said he took all those images that were burned into his head, and he took those and he put them on screen as deaths for serial killers.
Yeah.
Like all these things are things he slightly saw on the battlefield. So this man has a unfortunate depth to his
but no less key to his success.
Yes. But he is incredible, and he said he's creating a new look for Jason, which is pretty exciting. Not like completely revamped Jason X, he's all metal and it's Iron Man versus Jason Voorhees, but just a new look, just something that can have more detail and something that's living and breathing that you see from all angles. Yeah. So that's pretty sweet to see all of them excited. And Sean Cunningham is right there.
I like that, especially because the people that they put these game developers in touch with are very, very venerated professionals of the horror industry.
Yes.
So you can count on visually. I mean, the soundtrack, just every small angle of this, all the fine details are going to be ironed out so precisely with like a surgical precision to this. Yeah. So it's going to look and perform great.
Now I'm really sad that there was an indie developer that tried to make a Nightmare on Elm Street game. I don't really want it now without Wes Craven around.
Yeah.
But it's unfortunate that never happened. There was, Nintendo, the NES games, but those were so bad. Like the Jason one was literally just walking into rooms in a cabin, and either Jason was there or he wasn't there.
Yeah.
Like either you walked in and all your friends are dead, or Jason's there and now you're dead. Like that was the whole game. So it's great now that at least Sean Cunningham is around to oversee this whole project and see the last evolution of his property. Not some remake that he didn't approve of, but the last evolution of his property. He got to see...
Do you think that's why he jumped on it so hard? Is to kind of oversee and just have some input into this property?
I think he saw that they were very similar to what his vision of Camp Crystal Lake was, and he liked the idea of the game. They talked to him about how the 7 people would have to work together, and how they didn't, how it would hurt them, how it would negate them if the nerd decided he wanted to go sulk in a corner until Jason killed him while he was peering on the girl that was changing in the closet. This is a long description of a nerd, but that's what it was.
He said that he had been thinking of a game for so long, but every person that ever came to him just didn't have the right vision for a game.
Yeah.
And then he saw this. He wasn't even brought to him, and he just loved the idea. He said it was a perfect idea. It worked best for bringing a Jason movie into an interactive environment.
I love how, though, that he's kind of, like you said, gifted them the licensing to do this. And that really gives a testament. Like he understands vision, but from the non-interactive movie standpoint, and he's letting them have this creative license to do with it what they want to.
That's rare. To close it off, Sean Cunningham got to see Jason created. Right there at the beginning, but a little before the huge boom of slasher movies. He was one of the pioneers in that. Him and John Carpenter with Halloween. So he got to see Jason created. He got to see the origin of Jason. Because in Friday the 13th 1, Jason was just a boy at the bottom of the lake. His mom was a killer. And it went through everything and went all the way into Jason X, where Jason went to space. He got to see Jason go from the bottom of the lake to the depths of space. And he got to see Jason fight Freddy, his arch rival movie-going wise in the 80s. And then he had the reboot, which whether he liked it or not, that did bring new life into Jason with a new crowd and kind of combine the first 3 movies. And
give him the opportunity to scare a new group of teenagers.
And it showed that Jason had staying power, because that movie was incredible. It was everything in Jason, embodied everything.
Oh,
drugs,
Jason X.
Sex,
he got screwed. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
In Jason X, when the guy got pushed off a balcony onto a big drill piece and he spun around.
Yeah, I remember. It was a good one. Well, Sean Cunningham gets to finish off Jason with the game. That's what I'm just trying to get at.
Yeah.
Well, but before we finish off talking about that, I do want to say that their goal is 700,000.
Oh, minimal. So small.
They've reached 400,000 as of just before the stream.
Yeah.
And wasn't 700,000 what Shovel Knight was looking for?
Yeah, Shovel Knight, which fantastic game. It is a great game, but the assets you need and the programming you need in Shovel Knight does not compare to what you need in Friday the 13th. So just to put that in perspective, as good as Shovel Knight was, these people already have the basis for their game, and they have maps and they have playthroughs already set up, and then they're asking for the same amount, 700,000, which is still a lot less than what My Number 9 was asking for, some of these other games.
And from what I can see in the Kickstarter video, they may not have had all of their developers and employees in there, but if they did, it seemed like 4 people were making this.
Oh, absolutely.
And obviously, you got the official people from Hollywood that came over, but the actual dev team seemed like 4 people.
It looks like 700,000 is going to pay more for more people to work in the game at minimum wage kind of hours just to get their break in the game, I believe. But I think their dev team is bigger.
I think they know how to spend their money. You got like Shovel Knight that obviously got a ton of money. They had like 15 employees, and they had big office, nice looking office space. I read a blog from them that way after they released the game, they were talking about they ran out of money, and they were going off pawning off stuff to get more money to finish the development. And they got tons and tons of money over their goal.
It's spending your money wisely creating a game. And then the money you make off the game is what you can spend on your life.
Yeah.
And that's what it comes down to. And that's where I do love Shovel Knight as a game. I really do. At the time, I did not back Shovel Knight because of what they were asking for was a lot. Kind of like Shanti. I didn't back the latest Shanti game. I went to Kickstarter because they were asking for a little bit more than I felt was needed for a platform that had a lot of assets for. The assets were easily gotten. This game was created as one game, and now it gets to become another. But their whole reason for asking for this money is to make Friday the 13th not a disappointment. So $700,000 to finish a game that they don't want is a disappointment. And Sean Cunningham gifted this license to them. This is a small price to pay for what may be the only good or great video game version of a horror game.
And I'm quite certain Sean Cunningham's not paying, funding anything. So I'm sure a lot of this minimum goal was going to pay those Hollywood officials for their work.
Possibly the composer, Kane Hodder.
And I was about to say, if it is Kane Hodder and all these people, a smaller portion than they would normally get is going to fund their participation in all of this. And I mean, it's great that they're doing that to help these guys out and to see this vision come to life.
I'm pretty excited about it.
I'm really amped to play it, actually.
Yeah. We got 9 minutes left.
Oh, well, the next biggest thing would probably be from Nintendo.
It's okay, so this is going to go into the rumor section because this was presented by the Wall Street Journal and a few other media outlets, and this is leaked information, which leaks can always be classified as rumors. You never want to classify anything as truth until it comes from the
until it is announced. Yeah.
But the NX dev kits have gone out. Everyone knows that. But now people are leaking out the NX dev kit, kind of like some information about them. Like just enough information to give you hope, but not enough information to get someone sued.
Now, these are not physical dev kits, though. These are SDKs. They're just software. Probably they have the operating system of the console finished, and that's all you really need because the hardware doesn't really matter what's on there, as long as it's compatible with the graphics card they put on. So they have essentially emulators on their PCs to develop this for. It's kind of like if you develop for a phone on a PC, you can just have an emulator on the PC instead of the actual device. So those have been sent out, rumored to AAA developers to actually prepare to have a good launch, unlike what Nintendo did for the 3DS and the Wii U. Didn't have a strong launch.
Yeah. The Wii U did not have a strong launch, but they also didn't give developers, at least a lot of developers, the dev kits in advance. The only person that really got them was Ubisoft, and Ubisoft did have a really great launch ready, and then all of a sudden, Rayman got delayed because Nintendo didn't have a lot of hype going in to the Wii U, and so what went from Rayman Legends and Zombie U stealing the launch from Nintendo themselves and making it the Ubisoft console, it went to Zombie U kind of faltering, not failing. It's a true survival horror game. I don't think they realized they were making a true scary game that was hard to survive, survival horror, and Rayman got delayed. So Zombie U didn't do great. Rayman got delayed. Rayman got delayed again because Zombie U didn't do great. Then Rayman got delayed into oblivion because no one really cared once it came out. If it had launched with the Wii U, it would have sold so much more than what it sold.
I completely agree with that.
One thing with the NX, when it is released, Nintendo has also said that they're not going to stop supporting the Wii U. They're going to continue support for it more than they did with the Wii, because the Wii obviously had a longer lifespan. They don't want people who bought the Wii U to feel cheated out.
Yeah, like this is instantly obsolete. Yeah. As soon as considering that they've already started working on this.
One of the things with sending out the SDKs is people who are still making for the Wii U now can also port easier to the when the NX comes out.
That's the big thing, is you want those games there at the NX launch. People that bought the Wii U are Nintendo loyalists. There's so few Wii U's that sold. You could say that they're Nintendo loyalists, and half those people will still buy the NX within the first year, even if the games are on both systems. I know if they're offering me a Zelda U, but they're offering an upgraded version of Zelda U on the NX, I'm going to go ahead and upgrade. I've been ready for this upgrade to happen for a while because I knew the inevitable was happening. I knew the Wii U was dead after a couple of years, and I was just like, bring on the next console. And the rumors are that they are using top of the line, top of the industry graphics cards, processing chips, and that the gamepad is a portable console you take with you, and then it adapts back to the home console when you get home. So the gamepad, from what people can tell on the SDK, is that the gamepad will have its own processing graphics card and all that kind of stuff to take on the go.
Like, I know we're still in the rumor section, but just to ask about what the rumor mill is churning out, are they sticking with the gamepad? Because they need to pick a gimmick and roll with it.
There are patents that have been found that demonstrate a gamepad with a few more modifications on it. So it is. I'm fairly certain they're keeping a gamepad.
Okay.
It looks like from what people can tell on the SDK is that it looks like the NX replaces the 3DS and the Wii U all in one. So in one bundle package, say I guess $350, they could not launch at $4 or more.
Well, unlike the Wii U, the 3DS is sort of due for an upgrade.
It is. It's been out for it was out for a couple of years longer than the Wii U, almost, and it's due for an upgrade. It's fine. We're at that point to where when I can get better graphics on my phone that's 2 years old, it shouldn't be that way.
Absolutely.
Better screen. You can drop the 3D. I did enjoy the 3D for what it was worth, but I kind of saw all that gimmick had to it already. Yeah. So no more 3D, just a screen. And
of course, it won't be a dual screen anymore.
And it won't be a dual screen anymore. It goes more along the lines of the PS Vita. Who knows if we'll have the touch screen. Now, I really like the dual screen kind of stuff. Yeah. It will go more back to traditional gaming, which I think is what people want more anyway. I believe that. Here's my theory, is that you can still do dual screen gaming on your portable games from home docked to a TV, to your home console. That would make sense. That, hey, the only thing this dual screen is going to offer you is your menu is going to be up at all times. Sweet.
Yeah, that's nice.
And then you can play it at home. Games like, I don't see how it can be backwards compatible with that dual screen.
No.
And Nintendo's always been about backwards compatibility. The one time they shied away from backwards compatibility in the modern era was when it went from 64 to GameCube, finally to discs. You couldn't play 64 games. Then they were like, backwards compatible was important. So GameCube.
They re-released a lot of things on disc. Yeah.
And that's something that the rumors kind of fall on their face when you look at the logic of Nintendo. I think that you could make an upgraded version of the 3DS.
Well, they might still keep the 3DS around. They did just pretty much release the new 3DS, the powerful overhaul of it. So I don't think they'll drop support for that.
The new 3DS may be the gold standard that connects to the NX. And then the gamepad itself, you can take with you and maybe play some games on the go. I don't know how that
streaming
works.
games.
Maybe streaming games that the Vita tries to do, but. Yeah, a lot of that requires a data connection because there's not a lot of strong Wi-Fi ports.
They might just keep it for just straight up Wi-Fi. I don't know if they'll ever really partner with anyone to get some LTE.
Yeah, it backfired on Sony. But the rumors are everywhere, and they're just rumors, and you can look at them and be excited, then look at them and be, that doesn't make sense. The only rumor that made sense was upping the graphical power. The man that leads Nintendo now is not a developer who relies on uniqueness.
He's a businessman.
He's a businessman, and business is business. And they have their exclusives. They have their great dev teams. They'll always have their exclusives. But without third parties, they will not, on this next generation, if they do not get third parties on board, which will require a better graphics card, they will not be around the next generation afterwards.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Not as a console or not as a hardware maker.
Yeah.
They will go software only if this next time kind of falls into that. Now, right now, they're benefiting from a weak yen and a stronger American dollar than what they've got. So, hopefully, I know it's bad, but I'm sure some of them are hoping, since NA is the biggest market, that Japan doesn't recover economically for the next year, and they can have a super strong and inflated launch next year for the next. That's the business part of it.
The rumors are that this is much more powerful than the PS4.
That's the rumors.
Yeah, and if that's the case, either the price is going to be pretty high or they're going to sell at a loss.
Now, there's the thing, is you sell at a loss only for so long. You sell at a loss only for so long, and really it all depends on what you're willing to do. Plus, Sony isn't hurting from the fact that they sell their PlayStation 4 still at a loss. Okay. They're not hurting from the fact that they don't have any software out there that's making any money. The Sony PlayStation, for all intents and purposes, isn't making any money for itself. But Sony has a lot of other hands in the cookie jars to make money and make up for it. It's kind of like Walmart selling this TV at a loss, but they're going to make their money back on the bread. That's what Sony does.
Well, what that's going to depend on is how confident they are in their launch. If they say, okay, so we're selling the console at a slight loss, but all of these great games we have for it are definitely going to make us some money back, then they're going to be willing to sell it at a loss with that guaranteed profit coming in from games and stuff like that. But if they're not super confident about the loss, and I don't think they should be considering the Wii U.
It depends, because honestly, their other cookie jar that they have finally is the mobile market. They can make a ton of money on the mobile market.
And they're entering that in a daring way. I mean, I don't know how much you've looked into the Pokemon Go stuff and different things like that, but that is a huge first step into the mobile market.
And people look at it and it's like Pokemon is Pokemon Company, but Nintendo owns the majority of the Pokemon Company, so they still get that money. Pokemon Company is heading up that completely. Nintendo has their own project, but that's still money that goes to Nintendo. Mm-hmm. Whether you have that as, oh, it's just Nintendo. Well, first off, it's advertising Pokemon games, which are only on Nintendo. Nintendo is the majority owner of the Pokemon Company, which also makes some over majority of that money go straight to Nintendo. So I know I've seen some people online that say, oh, Pokemon Company, it's not really Nintendo. It is Nintendo. It's not their official launch. It's Pokemon Company's official launch. Nintendo still makes some money on it. Mm-hmm. It's like saying, oh, it's not Microsoft. It's PC Microsoft. It's different. It's not different.
No.
They're the same company.
Not even a little bit.
Pokemon Company is pretty much a subsidiary company of Nintendo.
Yeah.
Nintendo owns so much.
For all intents and purposes. I don't know if it's mapped out legally that way, but for all intents and purposes, yes, it's umbrellaed under Nintendo. Yeah.
Once you own majority stock, you kind of control everything.
Yeah. So, I mean, if it's not Nintendo, it might as well be.
Yeah.
So, I guess we're coming up at the end.
We sure are, actually. We started a minute late, and now we're a minute over. So, look at that. Perfect symmetry.
All right. Does anyone want to plug all of our stuff?
Well, as you can see along the bottom of the screen, you have all of our Twitter handles and different websites where you might find us, such as TakeTheStudios.com. Of course, we have here Josh with WebDevHipster.com, and then you'll see my YouTube tag down there, so you can catch up on all the wonderful gaming that I've been doing. But
and I get nothing. I get the official company.
You have TakeTheStudios.com.
Yeah.
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 So, do you have another plug that you want to offer in that spot? Okay, then. Well,
I did want to plug that Kickstarter. Look up on Kickstarter, search Friday the 13th. Mm-hmm. Make this game happen. And the stretch goal is to give a single-player mode. So if you're like, whoa, asymmetrical got burned on me from Evolve. Yeah, Evolve did suck, and they try to steal all of your money for DLC because that's just the way they operate. Yeah. But this is a different operation, and this is a different game. But if you do want single-player because you just don't trust anybody, and your name's Stone Cold Steve Austin, then go ahead and bid up or donate a bunch of money and try to help you get to the stretch goals that include a single-player campaign.
I wouldn't care if it didn't have a single player. It'd be all right.
I don't care either.
Like I said, depth has worked out really well for me. So
yeah, this is obviously a game you can have confidence in since the creator of Jason has confidence.
Yeah, he's not going to let it roll out and be a stinker. Like obviously,
he's got or not roll out at all. So, yeah, I mean,
or not roll out at all. He's not going to allow that. Yeah. Like several Kickstarter games are doing. This one obviously won't.
Yeah, yeah. I have more confidence in this game than Star Fox Zero.
We're still over.
Yeah, we are still over. And a couple of final plugs that we would like to offer. Whoa. A couple of final plugs we'd like to offer if you want to get on YouTube.com and slide on over to The Happy Cat. Go ahead and check her out. She's still doing her Let's Plays, Let's Makes, and please pick up and see what she's got going on with her big group community.
The community building a game. How cool is that? That's awesome.
I like it because it's almost like the Twitch Plays kind of stuff. It's going to be crazy, but it could turn into something really great.
And that's The Happy Cat, where it's I-E instead of Y for happy.
H-A-P-P-I-E. Like Hap Pie.
Yeah.
Hap Cat.
The subreddit for the community is The Happy Makers also. So if you want to go straight there.
Yeah, The Hap Pie Makers.
Yeah, The Hap Pie Makers.
Sweet. Thank God. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. We always love to see you. And until next week, we'll catch you then.
We will.
Oh, thanks for shouting.